Mạnh Hùng has entitled his new work Poem Symphony. It's an unusual synthesis of Western classical music, jazz, and traditional Vietnamese sounds.
Hanoi is a city where tranquil old Asia blends with dynamic new Asia, where medieval coexists with the modern, where communism clashes with capitalism and East confronts West. The city's music clubs are a popular meeting place. The local jazz scene is especially hot. Trần Mạnh Hùng and his wife, who is a successful soprano singer, love to go to concerts. Hùng draws his inspiration for his own work from the improvisation and blending of styles he hears in the jazz clubs. At the Hanoi Music Academy, Hùng attends a rehearsal of his latest composition, which was commissioned by Deutsche Welle. Students are playing his Poem Symphony.
In my childhood, I was introduced to many musical styles. I started listening to jazz early on and also studied classical music. Now, when I compose a work, I don't actually think about what elements go into it, about the influences that find expression. Classical music, Vietnamese traditional music, or jazz. All three are in my blood.
Hanoi is also a place of mixed influences, where French colonial style is juxtaposed with traditional Vietnamese. Hùng grew up in the old city, in a neighborhood of craft workers and traders. This is where he developed his love of music. Traditional Vietnamese instruments are crafted and sold in the tiny shops here. Hùng is especially interested in the famous dan bao, a traditional one-stringed instrument. A teacher helps him refine his technique. The sound of the dan bao is woven into his work for the Beethoven Festival, entitled Poem Symphony.
This instrument is completely different from Western instruments in the way it works. With one hand you strum the string, and with the other you produce a glissando. You can play all the sounds in the pentatonic scale.
The five-note pentatonic scale is widely found in Asian music. Its unique sound has greatly influenced Hùng work, as have traditional tales. The Poem Symphony was inspired by a 600-year-old legend about the life of scholar and freedom fighter Nguyen Trai. He and his wife are remembered at this shrine. Nguyen Trai was a Vietnamese scholar who fought to liberate Hanoi from Chinese domination. The couple's resistance led to a tragic fate. Their suffering is retold in the symphony. A solo violin plays the sad and moving theme of the heroine. The hero's theme is pounded out by the entire orchestra, powerful and proud. Hùng Poem Symphony honors Nguyen Trai and his wife and their long struggle.
These two national heroes championed the development and freedom of Vietnam. And because of false accusations, they were murdered, even though they were innocent. With this composition, I want the world to hear about what they did and ensure that their fate isn't forgotten.
Hùng is also a teacher. He's taught composition at the Music Academy for 6 years. There's room for all styles in his work. Errol Garner's jazz, Western classics, and Vietnamese folk music. Hùng seeks to convey all the styles which color his compositions. and Poem Symphony is no exception.
In my Poem Symphony, the one melody is played by the solo violin. It's typical northern Vietnamese music. And the other melody is played by the orchestra, and it's typically Western. I connect Vietnamese and Western music in this work.
Hung's Poem Symphony is a sumptuous fusion of traditions from East and West. Poem Symphony was specially written to be performed by the orchestra of Hanoi's Music Academy at the 2009 Beethoven Festival in Bonn.